friends, I'm Bryn.
And I'm Ben.
And this is Friends Who Crime.
Friends Who Crime.
Welcome to another episode of Friends Who Crime, you guys. If you're new here, hello. I'm so glad you found my podcast. I've been looking at our stats on Podbean, and it looks like we have a handful of listeners in Germany.
Okay.
So, shout out to German listeners. It's really cool that you're listening.
Nice.
Send me a message on Instagram. It's at Friends Who Crime, and maybe I can get you on the podcast, or at least just like chat with you, because I think it's so cool that you're all listening. We've got several listeners over there. So
We're international.
Right?
That's awesome.
Also, if you're new here, I do a short little segment that I call my Brinterruption, where I get to talk a little bit about what's going on in my life. Today, my Brinterruption is that I went to see the new live action How to Train Your Dragon, and I was really excited about it. It's one of my dad's favorite movies, so it was like...
Your dad or your dog?
My dad.
Oh. I was like, you don't have a dog. Are we starting to act like you have a dog?
It's one of my dog's absolute favorites.
Sorry. Okay, that's good.
It was one of my dad's favorite movies growing up, so it was kind of just always on in the background. And it held up pretty well. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but Gerard Butler was wonderful as the dad. He was so good.
I love that.
And the first time he popped on screen, he was like this big, like, hulking Viking. I was like,
Oh, you couldn't take it serious.
It was just so funny to see him that way. Like, his head looks so small compared to the rest of his body.
Oh, interesting.
But it was gorgeous. Like, the filming itself, the cinematography, gorgeous.
Nice.
Because it's like...
Because it's real.
Yeah, like Norway, Iceland, Scandinavia, where the Vikings are.
Okay.
Or were.
I hear it's beautiful there. I mean, I've seen, like, videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Of it being beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And there's all these, like, cliffs and, like, pretty trees. And they animated the dragons really well. I will say the CGI on that was really good.
Okay, nice.
Okay, so I need to introduce you at this point.
Yeah.
Ben is on the podcast today. Hi, Ben.
That's me. Hi. Hi, Gwen.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Ben. I am a musician, and a new, I guess, founder of a company. I guess that's something that's new, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, we're Soundcheck Live on social media, on Instagram, soundchecklive.io. That's also our website. But yeah, we're building a software platform to help musicians and artists and event planners and booking agents plan their operations and manage their businesses. So really excited about that.
If you're a musician, and this is not an ad, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I was like, don't make this an ad.
But if you're a musician, it's gonna be very helpful. This app.
Yeah. We're starting web, and then we're moving into mobile. But yeah, we'll start on the web. I'm a tennis player. I play a lot of tennis.
How do we know each other?
We met each other in college. So we both did acapella in college, and I think it was like during an acapalooza, which is like the largest like collegiate Texas sort of event.
Showcase.
One of the large, like showcase. I was at A&M. You were at UT in acapella, and I think we had a show together at A&M, and we like hung out. But I feel like we became real friends was actually after college, when we were in a semi-professional. So funny. We were like semi-professional. What does that even mean? Acapella group together, which was super fun. That's when we became, I feel like, real friends.
Yeah.
Right. Was really during that time. And then we just stay connected and both moved to Austin, and
And here we are. It's funny. I've already been talking to you about this, but last week was Alyssa.
Oh yes, Alyssa,
so
another one.
She and I also met at Acapalooza.
Nice.
So this will be 2 weeks in a row.
Acapalooza coming through.
Talking about Acapalooza.
That's hilarious. Acapulco's coming through.
And then, what is your relationship with true crime? Do you love it? Do you hate it?
So, I was telling you this before, but yeah, my mom is like a true crime fanatic. I grew up listening to like Cold Case and Dateline and whatever. All those shows. I grew up watching like 48 Hours and watching like CSI, like whatever, just like any show, real or fake, that was like crime related.
Hell yeah.
So I've always been really interested in like, it's like weird, but like, I don't know what it is. I'm thinking about it right now, actually, for the first time. Like, what is it that I like about crime? And I guess I like the thrill of not knowing, like who the killer is or like who did something. I guess I like whodunits.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I noticed I like whodunits in general, but I guess that's part of like true crime is like it's always a whodunit.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times not scripted, even though we're in a simulation, so maybe it is scripted. Maybe it is scripted, but
you said that so nonchalantly. Well, actually, we're in a simulation, so like
it is scripted. But yeah, no, I love the whodunitness of it, and then I also just love like it, like it's just like a reminder of like how we just don't know tomorrow. Like we really don't, and it's like a thing that like it kind of wakes me up whenever I'm like, oh wow, this person was normal. Like this person, whatever normal means, right? But like this person like had a job and had a family and had a life. And like they woke up one day or didn't, and like, you know, so it's just like not that I listen to it to be reminded about appreciating life, but when I do listen to it, I tend to be like, man, you just never know tomorrow.
Well, are you ready to hear about this case today?
I'm scared.
This one literally sounds like it's made up, but it is not. It is real. Like you can't make this shit up.
I love those.
So here we go. Picture this. It's a sweltering summer night, August 22nd, 1922, in the city of Los Angeles. The kind of night where the air hangs really heavy and thick, every distant sound carries through the heat. Police cars pull up to a large, stately house nestled at 858 North Lafayette Place. Neighbors had made a frantic call reporting the unmistakable sound of gunshots echoing through the night,
The hood.
followed by a woman's desperate cries. Inside the house, the scene was grim but also very perplexing. Lying on the floor, lifeless, was Fred William Oesterreich, a wealthy businessman and owner of a successful apron factory. He had been shot multiple times. But here's where the story takes its first, like, completely bewildering turn. In a closet located within the very room where Fred lay dead, the police found his much younger wife, Dolly, seemingly distraught, unharmed, but also locked inside the closet from the outside.
Okay, murder-suicide.
Dolly, with a performance that would later be described as Oscar-worthy, quickly told a tale of a strange man, a burglar, who had broken into their home to rob them. The only thing missing, she insisted, was Fred's diamond watch. The police immediately smelled a rat. A robbery gone wrong with only a watch missing? How on earth did Dolly, locked from the outside, manage to get herself into that closet? It just didn't add up. Dolly's story felt too perfect to them. She even told detectives with a completely straight face that she and Fred never fought. Not once. Which is a huge red flag. Like, flashing red flag.
Yeah, why are you saying we never fought? Did they ask you that?
Right. And, like, no marriage is that perfect.
Oh, sorry. I just realized I don't know why when you said in the closet, I thought she was dead. I missed that detail.
Oh, no, she's alive.
Oh, okay.
She's very much alive.
Okay.
Yeah, so Fred,
Yes.
the husband, dead on the floor,
Yes.
gunshot wounds.
Yes.
Dolly, alive,
Alive.
locked in the closet from the outside.
I'm
saying
hearing you.
someone came in to rob them.
Yes.
And killed Fred.
100%. Yeah.
Now, here's what's truly wild about this initial discovery, and frankly a little too convenient for Dolly. The police were completely hindered by the locked closet. The detail was so confusing, so seemingly impossible for Dolly to have orchestrated herself, that it prevented them from charging her with Fred's murder. It was the perfect alibi. If Dolly was locked in the closet from the outside, she clearly couldn't have killed Fred, right? So to truly understand what's going on here, we need to rewind a little bit back to the early 1900s.
Oh, okay.
Let's start with Fred.
Yes.
Fred William Oesterreich, born in Chicago in 1877.
Okay.
He was successful. He was in the textile business and an apron manufacturer, fairly wealthy. He had built a really comfortable life for himself, a man of means and industry.
Sorry, can we talk about that? Like, he was an apron manufacturer. Like, that blows my mind that being an apron manufacturer back in the 20s was such a thing, because all the women were at home, like, wearing aprons to wear. Like, that was, like, a bit like a business that you did. That blows my mind.
Then there is Walburga Korschel, better known as Dolly.
Okay.
Born in Germany in 1880, she immigrated to America but found life on a farm pretty grim. At just 12 years old, Dolly started working at Fred's textile mill.
Oh.
Fred, significantly older than her, noticed the young girl. Dolly was described as attractive and charismatic, with many friends among the factory workers. She even had a knack for mediating labor disputes, acting as the intermediary to the more distant and unlikable Fred.
Oh.
Then they got married when Dolly was 17.
Okay.
And you might think, okay, good for her, securing a comfortable life. But apparently comfort wasn't enough for Dolly. Their marriage, despite the wealth, was reportedly, quote, less than scintillating for her. Like, less than exciting for her.
She was a kid. But I guess 17 back in the day was like, you were grown.
Yeah. There were reports that Fred, quote, drank a lot and didn't thrill her in the bedroom.
That sounds like every man back in the
It sounds like every man now.
Okay, there we go.
And while public appearances might have suggested a stable, passionate marriage, behind closed doors the arguments were frequent and loud, a common occurrence for the heavy drinking apron manufacturer and his wife. This wasn't just a marriage lacking spark, it was a fertile ground for Dolly's restless nature. It's clear she was looking for something more, or perhaps someone more.
Oh, Dolly, you were a hoe.
And she wasn't shy about finding it. Yeah, say hoe. You can say whatever you want. Fuck, shit.
Okay. Oh, Dolly. She was what, like 18 by this point or something? Like, still?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, she wasn't shy about finding this someone. Rumors swirled around town about other lovers. Dolly was a woman who knew what she wanted, and she wasn't afraid to go for it, or rather, make it come to her.
Oh, Dolly.
Fast forward to 1913. Dolly is 33, and Fred is busy with his factory. Dolly, who was already rumored to have invited many lovers into her home during the day while Fred worked, was about to meet her next and most impactful conquest. His name was Otto Sanhuber. He was 17 years old, and he worked as a sewing machine repairman who ironically worked for Fred. And yes, you heard that right. 17. Dolly's 33.
Wait, hold on. Slow down. So wait, how long did she work at this damn... Oh, no, wait. She's not working at the factory anymore.
No.
Okay, but Fred still owns it.
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Got it.
He still runs it.
Okay, got it.
And Otto works for him.
Yes.
Otto the teenager. Dolly called Fred at work, claiming her sewing machine was broken. When Otto...
Something was broken. Something was broken on her. It wasn't the sewing machine.
When Otto arrived, she didn't just open the door. She opened it wearing nothing but a silk robe, stockings, and perfume. Incredible. It's very bold.
I love Dolly.
This wasn't some accidental spark. This was a calculated, provocative invitation. Dolly was already pulling the strings, setting the stage for a lurid affair that would define the word audacity. And just like that, an intense affair began. They met in hotels or at her house during the day whenever Fred was away.
Wow.
Neighbors, of course, started noticing this young man constantly coming and going from the Oesterreich home in Milwaukee. Dolly, quick on her feet, came up with a story that Otto was her vagabond half-brother.
Oh gosh, Dolly, get out of here.
Because that's a normal thing to have living with you, your vagabond brother. Or vagabond half-brother, excuse me. The vagabond half-brother's story was predictably not enough. Neighbors were still gossiping, and the risk of Fred discovering the affair was growing.
Neighbors are so messy.
The gossip. The gossip. So Dolly, with a flash of genius, or in my opinion, pure sociopathy, came up with an unhinged solution, Ben.
What is her solution?
Otto, this 17-year-old kid, would quit his job and move into the Oesterreich's attic.
That's not real.
The attic.
It's not real. How? Without Fred knowing?
Mm-hmm.
And what, she would just pull him down, have sex, and like feed him and put him back in the attic?
Kinda.
And the 17-year-old's like, yeah, Dolly.
Yeah. You're about to hear all about it, don't you worry. This was not just any attic. It was accessible through a panel in the ceiling of Fred and Dolly's shared bedroom closet.
Oh my gosh.
Every night, Fred would go to sleep completely oblivious to the fact that his wife's teenage lover was living above him.
That's not real.
Just a few feet away.
That's not real.
But
damn, Dolly's a badass, because that's fucking that is hot. Like, she's like, damn. Okay, see, okay, I feel like all the movies and sort of like books and things from that time make it seem like women were just like pretty and pretty and too cute to blah blah blah. Like, no ma'am, she was in her bag early. Like, that is funny.
Oh my god,
that is so bold. Like,
very bold.
That is so bold. Wow. Okay, Dolly.
Otto's new apartment, quotes apartment,
I love how you call it.
was sparse. It was a cot, a lamp, some books, writing materials, and enough food to keep him alive. During the day, while Fred was out making his aprons, Otto would emerge from his secret lair.
Fred, what is this story?
I'm telling you, it sounds made up, but it's not.
What is
this all
story?
happened. It's the 20s, man.
But like, was Fred just like that horny? Like,
the husband?
No, not Fred. Sorry, Otto. Was
Otto
just like that horny? Cause like, what? Is it that deep? Did he leave the attic at all? Like,
he would come down while Fred was at work.
Okay, but like, did he leave the house? Do you know? Was he just like always?
We'll talk about it.
Okay, because I'm like,
we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So Otto would come down. He'd perform housework, because why not have your secret lover also be your live-in maid? And of course, fulfill his, quote, duties as a lover. Oh, Otto would later describe himself as Dolly's sex slave.
Okay, yeah.
Claiming they were doing the dirty up to 8 times a day.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
They would build different back then.
Like,
that's
ow.
too much. Yeah, that's too much.
Ow.
That's too much. They would build different.
This wasn't just a physical affair. It was an all-consuming, pathological dependency. Otto had cut himself off from everyone, with Dolly as his sole connection to the outside world. He even spent nights in total silence reading and writing science fiction stories, which Dolly would mail to publishers for him.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool.
Fred, meanwhile, bless his heart, remained completely unaware of the guy in the attic.
Okay, so here's what blows my mind, because I'm imagining like wood floors in this old house, because that's where most houses were made of, right? Like, Fred had money.
Yeah.
So they probably were able to get some good floors that didn't like creak and like things like that. Because
Maybe.
I'm like, I've been in old houses, in like the attic, you can hear all the movement. I mean, even the wind blows and you can hear, the floors creak. So I feel like if they had enough money to like get really good floors and like solid foundation, then maybe he didn't hear anything.
He does actually start noticing inexplicable noises.
Okay.
But only after about 5 years does he start to get suspicious.
5 years.
Otto lived in the attic for about 5 years, completely undetected. Fred started noticing these noises, missing cigars of his.
Okay, yeah.
And just strange shadows, and decided they needed a change of scenery, a fresh start in Los Angeles. So they're moving from Milwaukee to Los Angeles.
So Fred thought the house was haunted when it's his damn wife's lover, sex slave, whatever you want to call him.
Yep. He was actually reportedly questioning his sanity.
Yeah, because like you wouldn't. What would he think? Oh, maybe my wife has someone living in our... Like, that's not going to cross your mind. It's just like, wait, what's going on?
Maybe someone's up in the closet, or in the oh my gosh. Maybe someone's up in the ceiling, in the attic.
Yeah, going to think that. Damn.
So Dolly agreed to move to Los Angeles, but only on one condition.
That Otto move with him.
The new house had to have an attic.
He's funny. That's hilarious.
And attics were rare in Los Angeles. Hard to find. But Dolly found one. Otto actually moved ahead of them. Already settled in his new hideaway before Fred and Dolly even unpacked. Wow. And the bizarre silent routine resumed.
Wow. Fred must have just worked long hours. Like, right? I'm assuming he was like always in the...
Yeah.
Or something.
And maybe Dolly like always put on music or something.
Yeah, to
like,
keep some...
Put a record on the player to
maybe
cover up the noises. Then from Otto's point of view, Otto willingly abandoned his entire life to live in a confined, secret condition for years.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Unusual, to say the least, right? The detail that he, quote, loved Dolly as a boy loves his mother is crucial here. It transforms his, like, sex slave identity from a mere sexual obsession to an actual dependence on Dolly.
Yeah.
He was isolated with Dolly as his only human connection, which would only deepen the dependency. Simultaneously, Fred's growing paranoia, noises, cigars, seeing shadows, paints this picture of a man slowly being driven to the brink of madness in his own home. The night of August 22nd, 1922, started like many others for the Oesterreichs. They returned home around 10:30 p.m. after visiting friends in the Wilshire district. Fred, who had a habit of drinking, like we were saying earlier, was reportedly quite intoxicated. As soon as they crossed the threshold, the familiar bitter shouting began. It wasn't unusual for them to shout at each other, usually about their grievances after over 25 years of marriage. Makes sense.
Yep.
You're gonna fight. Up in the attic, Otto listened as the argument escalated, growing louder and more heated. He later claimed that he believed Dolly was in physical danger. Now, whether that was a genuine fear or just a convenient excuse, we can only speculate, but what we do know is that Otto emerged from his hidden room.
Ooh.
And he wasn't empty-handed.
Ooh.
He retrieved two .25 caliber pistols from the bedroom. 2. Not one. Just
Oh, he was familiar with the house because he had been there for a while. So yeah.
Oh, he knew.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That detail alone makes you wonder if this was a spur of the moment act of protection or if there was a deeper, darker readiness for violence.
Yeah.
Just simmering underneath all of that dependence.
Because he, like you said, he heard them argue all the time. Yeah, you're right. So he was like, yeah, one of these days he's gonna stop talking to my woman like that.
Right. When Fred, probably still reeling from the argument and a few too many drinks, saw Otto, this kid that used to fix sewing machines from his factory, suddenly appear in his bedroom, he was enraged.
I mean, yeah. He was like, I was going crazy because, like, what the hell is this?
Right? Can you imagine all that clicking all at once?
Yeah.
He rushed towards Otto. Otto later claimed he thought Fred was going to beat or kill him, and he had no other choice but to shoot in self-defense. In the chaotic struggle, Otto fired 3 times. Fred William Oesterreich, the wealthy apron manufacturer, fell dead. The immediate aftermath speaks volumes here. This wasn't a moment of shock and grief. This was a moment of opportunism. Dolly and Otto, in a panic, immediately staged the scene to look like a botched burglary. Dolly handed Otto all the cash in the bedroom and Fred's diamond watch. Otto
That's so funny.
Right?
The diamond watch.
Just like one thing.
Yeah, just
like, here you
skip
go.
the diamond watch.
They'll believe us now. Otto took the money, the watch, and the pistols back into his attic lair. And then Otto locked Dolly in the closet from the outside, tossing the key aside before disappearing back into the shadows. Dolly then began screaming until a neighbor heard her and called the police.
That was planned. Like, Otto planned this out years ago of how he was going to do that.
I agree. I see the other side of it where it totally could have been just
you
like...
think it was just last minute?
Spur of the moment. He thought she was in danger and all this just chaotically went down. Okay. But I see that side as well of like, he had this planned. They both had it planned.
They... Like, the way I see it, I imagine like, you know, like let's say Fred was at work and Otto's like on the bed with Dolly. They're laying down and he's like, you know, one of these days, Dolly, I'm gonna kill that man. Like, like he's gonna stop talking to you like that. Like, you know,
I'm gonna protect you.
I'm gonna protect you. And she's like, Otto, stop.
So silly, Otto.
So silly. He's like, no, yeah, we're gonna ride away in the sunset. We're gonna like blame it on like.
And he's been locked in this attic for so long. Like, he's not sane. There's no way he's sane.
No, there's no way. Dang.
While Otto claimed self-defense and fear for Dolly, the fact that he retrieved 2 pistols suggests some degree of premeditation. The fact that they immediately coordinated a staged crime scene and a cover-up is insane. Dolly was a quick thinker, and Otto was going to follow her lead regardless of the consequences. And here's where the story takes another little turn. After murdering Fred, Otto Sanhuber didn't flee for good. He continued to live in the Oesterreich's attic for another 8 years.
Wait, hold on. What? Why?
I really think it was the dependence thing.
I mean, I guess after so long, right? You're like, this is all I know.
I will say, though, he was finally allowed a typewriter since there was no longer anyone to hear his noises, his clatter.
That's fair.
Meanwhile, Dolly, the, quote, merry widow, was living her best life. She inherited Fred's millions and even bought herself a new house. And of course, it had to have a spacious attic.
I know.
She quickly moved on, finding new lovers.
Wait, hold on. So he literally became her sex slave for real? Pretty much. This woman, dang, she had the good stuff. I don't know.
Right? Like, what's in the water that she's drinking?
She had the good stuff because this man, I'm sure Otto was cute. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he was attractive. And
he was a cutie.
So that's why I'm like, why are you with this woman? She's not even like making you hers. She just owns you.
He was also 17 when he met her. So maybe he just doesn't know any different, you know, and he thinks that this is normal.
This is love.
Yeah. So she's finding new lovers, including a lawyer named Herman Shapiro and another man named Roy Klum.
What is his name? Herman Shapiro is such a lawyer name.
Right. Shapiro. Wasn't that the name of the lawyer
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. Yes. Okay. For 8 years, the police were stumped. They suspected Dolly, but how could she have locked herself in that closet, right? The case went cold. But Dolly, for all of her cunning, eventually became a victim of her own overconfidence.
Uh-oh.
The cracks in her perfectly constructed facade,
okay.
began to show, as they often do.
Mm-hmm.
In 1930, 8 years after the murder,
wow,
Herman Shapiro, Dolly's personal attorney and now lover, started to get suspicious. Take that in for a minute. This woman...
Hold on. Did she move him in?
And I don't...
Oh, okay.
She didn't move him in.
Okay.
But, like, he was
there.
there.
Yeah, he was there a
They're
lot.
lovers,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And he's like, what is that noise? Oh, no, it's a rat or something.
He's starting to get suspicious, though.
Oh, yeah.
Dolly, with a casualness that honestly borders on insulting, gave Herman Fred's diamond watch.
Oh, this
the
diamond
one
watch.
she'd reported stolen during the burglary. Claiming she just... Are you ready for this? She claimed she just found it in the yard.
She also wasn't that smart. Like, it's interesting. Like, I would think she like, she isn't like this like savvy smart. She's just sounds like she's just hot. And like, you know what I mean? Like, she just sounds like someone who is like really hot and stunning at that time and just could like run over men. Like, this is what she sounds like to me. But she doesn't sound smart. Like,
manipulative, but not a good liar.
Yeah. But like so cute that you're just like, girl, you can do anything you want, kind of thing.
Then Roy Klum, another of Dolly's discarded lovers, had a volatile breakup with her and decided to spill the beans. He told police Dolly had given him a pistol shortly after the murder, asking him to dispose of it in the infamous La Brea tar pits. And if that wasn't enough, a neighbor also came forward, revealing Dolly had given them another pistol, asking them to get rid of it because it, quote, resembled the murder weapon too closely.
What?
The neighbor, again, bless their heart, buried it under a rose bush.
What?
Police recovered both pistols, and despite their decayed state, they were determined to be of the same caliber that killed Fred.
Why would the neighbor want to get involved? I'd be like, mm-mm. Yeah.
I just can't imagine someone coming to me and being like, hey, here's a pistol, and I just need you to get rid of it.
And then you do it.
Right.
I'd be like, no, thank you. Like, I don't want to be involved in that.
Again, manipulative. The power she must have had over people.
She must have been, like, very charismatic.
Yes.
Like, very, like, you know, everyone's her friend.
Sociopath.
Yeah. Wow.
They finally arrested Dolly with these pistols, okay?
Get her ass. Because I've had enough, okay?
Dolly's ability to maintain the facade for 8 years, even with new lovers, is astonishing.
Yeah.
Her overconfidence led to her eventual downfall. She used her lovers as tools, manipulating them, discarding them, but in the end, it was these very men who would become her undoing. Her carefully constructed web of lies, for lack of a better term, maintained for a decade, was finally unraveling.
Wow.
Cornered and desperate in jail, Dolly Oesterreich finally broke. She confided in Herman Shapiro the secret she had kept for a decade. Her vagabond half-brother was living in her attic.
Oh my gosh, she did not use that again.
She begged him to check on Otto's well-being, even giving him the secret signal, tap on the ceiling.
Then Otto come down and give Herman the good... Otto's like, oh, my baby's back.
And she's literally not telling the truth still.
I know, still. It's like, come on, girl. I'm starting to feel bad for Otto. At first I was like, how could you? And I'm like, you were like mentally ill and she took advantage of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Shapiro, probably thinking he'd heard it all, he'd gotten the truth, went to the house and knocked on the trapdoor leading to the attic. And there, when he tapped on the trapdoor, he was greeted by a thin, pale, but surprisingly cordial Otto Sandhuber.
Aww.
Imagine Shapiro's face, though.
I know, he's like...
This guy comes out of there, he's like, you do not look good.
Yeah.
Otto, who hadn't spoken to another man in over a decade, was apparently thrilled to have a new audience. He, quote, entertained the lawyer with tales of his sexual exploits.
Oh, gosh. Because that's all he knew.
That's the normal first time conversation.
That's all he knew, though, was just sex with Dolly.
And by doing that, he revealed his true relationship with Dolly.
Yeah.
And confessed his role in Fred's murder.
Oh, he was ready to spill. He just was going. Wow.
I would be too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Shapiro, understandably horrified, immediately kicked Otto out of the attic. The terrified Otto fled to Canada, but the truth was out. Otto was arrested and put on trial. The case, of course, exploded in the press.
Of course.
Reporters dubbed him Attic Man, Bat Boy, and the Batman.
Actually, I love the Batman. That's great.
The entire affair became known as the Love Slave Murder. Now you'd think after all that, with a confession and a Batman in custody, justice would finally be served. Batman! This is where the story gets really, well, even more infuriating.
Yes.
Otto Sandhuber was tried for manslaughter. First of all, manslaughter? It's not manslaughter, it's murder.
Why was it manslaughter?
I also don't know what the laws were like back then.
Okay.
Maybe manslaughter is the equivalent of like second-degree murder today, where it's not premeditated.
Interesting. Okay.
In his defense, he claimed he was enslaved by Dolly, her sex slave, and that he shot Fred in self-defense, truly believing that Dolly was in danger.
Yeah.
He even told the jury he loved Dolly, like I said earlier, as a boy loves his mother. Despite initially confessing and showing police his attic hideout, Otto later recanted his confession during the trial, probably on Dolly's orders.
Yeah.
But the jury, clearly swayed by the bizarre circumstances and Otto's pathetic demeanor, found him guilty of manslaughter, but not murder.
That makes sense.
A conviction, finally, right?
No.
But, despite being found guilty, Otto was released. What? Why? Because the statute of limitations for Fred's murder had expired.
Oh no! Poor Fred!
Do you believe that? Like, on a technicality? The man who lived in the attic for a decade, murdered his lover's husband, and confessed, walked free because the clock ran out.
Damn.
Glaring flaw in the legal system, first of all.
Right? Yeah, that makes no sense.
And then Fred not seeing any justice.
Yeah.
And then there's Dolly. She was charged with murder and conspiracy.
Sense.
During her trial, Dolly, with the audacity of only a true sociopath, admitted that Otto shot her husband and that she covered it up to look like a robbery. But she insisted she took no part in the murder itself, which is sort of true.
Yeah, sure.
Conspiracy, definitely.
Yeah.
But just depends on how premeditated it was.
Yeah, and I guess based on what we know, I can't imagine her wanting to actually killing Fred. Like, you know.
Sometimes people do it for the money. She definitely got his money.
She did get his money, yeah. Like, she doesn't seem like she has enough balls to kill him.
And I feel like if she wanted to kill him over her affair, she would have done it long before it happened.
That's true. Yeah.
So she also claimed she only lied to protect Otto all these years. She said, "I didn't believe he meant to do it, and I didn't want to expose my life to the world, having him in the house." She even had the gall to insist she loved her husband, despite hiding her teenage lover in the attic for 10 years. The prosecutor, of course, painted her as a cold-blooded murderer who aided and abetted her, quote, ghost lover.
Oh, the ghost lover! I love that. I like that better than Batman.
I do too.
I love ghost lover.
Dolly's performance, her denial of direct complicity, was enough. Her trial ended up in a hung jury, with most jurors actually leaning towards acquittal.
Wow.
In 1936, the indictment against her was dropped.
Wow. Damn.
It's so infuriating.
Damn. Poor. Like, not only did dang, he didn't. Dang, they both walked free.
Mm-hmm. It was just, I feel like it was all loopholes. Like, hung jury, statute of limitations.
It just wasn't meant to be. Some people are just like, you know what I mean? Like, justice is not always served. Like, that is sometimes the case. Like,
yeah.
Life is not fair.
And Dolly had money.
So it's like, there's more, right? There's more.
Oh, yeah.
Justice is going to be served eventually, right? Okay.
Shrug.
Okay.
Shrug. After their respective trials, the bizarre codependent love-slave relationship between Dollo and Audie. Wow. Dollo and Audie? Is that what I just said?
Yes, I love that.
Those are their couple names.
That's good.
After their respective trials, the bizarre codependent love-slave relationship between Dolly and Otto finally ended for good. The threads that bound them were finally severed. Otto, Batman, ghost lover, tried to disappear. He changed his name to Walter Klein, moved to Canada, married another woman, and eventually relocated back to LA, living the remainder of his life completely off the grid.
Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
he's not meant to be on the grid.
Dolly, however, continued her life with an almost unbelievable ease. She found a new boyfriend. They stuck together for a remarkable 30 years.
What?
She eventually married him 2 weeks before she died at the age of 75.
This woman lived a whole life?
No regrets about the chaos and grief she unleashed on the world. Long, happy, comfortable life.
Bryn.
It's interesting to me, though, that she and Otto had such different outcomes.
But I mean, it seems like he was chill though. Like it seems like it didn't sound like he had a. I don't know if he was made to go back into normal society though. Like that would be.
Oh, like being transitioned back into society.
I feel like that would be rough for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess over time he could have gotten it. I'm just more upset that like this woman just is able to walk free like that and then live a full life. I mean, 75 back in the 30s was, or when is she?
Yeah.
I mean, that. She had a full life. Wow.
It's maddening. Like, truly, it makes me so mad.
Yeah, it makes me really mad.
Dolly, the so-called Queen of Los Angeles, and Naughty Vamp by the media.
Naughty Vamp?
Naughty Vamp.
Wow.
She had an almost hypnotic control over everyone in her orbit. She was a woman who could exert control over not only her husband, Fred, but her hidden lover, Otto, and even her lawyer, Herman Shapiro.
Herman!
Who also fell for her. As Otto himself stated while sitting in jail, quote, "I never knew what I was capable of until I met Dolly."
Dang.
Sometimes the most dangerous criminals aren't the ones who leave a clear trail of evidence, but the ones who can weave a web of deception so intricate, so unbelievable that it paralyzes the very system designed to catch them.
Wow.
And that's the case of the attic lovers.
Wow. That was such a good last line though, because it seems like it would have been a pivotal case in like detecting a murder or whatever, you know what I mean? Maybe. I'm assuming it was because like, yeah, the technicalities are such a dumb thing. Like, I don't know, there's all these things. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
You gotta do better next time.
Well, I don't think there's a statute of limitations for manslaughter in most places anymore. I could be wrong about that, but
I don't know. But I'm gonna look that up now because I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous, you know.
I need to show you a picture of Dolly. You have to
Oh,
understand.
yeah, I
I meant to
see.
show you earlier.
Okay, Dolly.
That's her and Fred. Those two. Right?
Nuh-uh. That's who they were falling for?
Yep.
Uh-uh.
I'm telling you, she just must have had such charisma.
She ain't locking me in an attic.
But then, you know, she's answering the door in a robe and stockings and nothing else. And
But I feel like men back then were very simple, you know? She probably was just like a very confident woman, and they were just like, oh, we don't see those often. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, and I think that's what won them over. They were like, damn, like, she's like, yeah, she's like bad. Like, she's like
forward and...
Yeah, probably very, like, you know, she's probably, she knew what she wanted. That's part of it. Like, so I can see that being, I guess maybe that's attractive. Like, or was attractive back then because they were very simple. They also, I mean, not that they do now, but like didn't respect women. So like she demanded her respect.
Wild story.
Wow, thanks for sharing that one. That was crazy. Here's my takeaway. Okay, I feel like this case was like a case on the importance of mental health, and I say that because, you know, it's very, very clear that even before they started to engage, Otto had some sort of rockiness with his mental health, you know, and Dolly, maybe she did or didn't. Like, maybe she legit in the beginning, it was just like, ooh, this will be fun. Like, let's go in the attic. Like, ooh, this is, you know, I get to mess around, whatever. Like, and then over time, she took advantage of that. Like, she saw that he was, like, maybe he was like, hey, I'll stay up here for another week or another month. I feel like that's how it started. I don't think they set out for 8 years of whatever, how long it was, of attic. I think it was just like, let's stay up here for another month. And then she was like, probably, I don't want you to leave. And like, just started to exploit like his mental health and like find his weaknesses. And then after a while, you know, you just get to the point, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe he got to the point where he's like, well, I don't have control over myself anymore. Like, she owns me now. Like, I'm hers. And then it like totally switched. You know what it reminds me of? Like the Stanford prison experiment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like how they, even though, okay, by the way, listeners, whatever, I'm like that. There's someone's gonna be like, there was so much, like, because there was a lot of like fluff behind that because it was like done improperly and like whatever. And but still reminds me of it because it's a true story. Mm-hmm. There's some truth to that idea. But I feel like, yeah, in the beginning, it probably was innocent, right? Like, and then, I don't know, and then over time, like, yeah, seeing how, yeah, he just kind of didn't have control over, lost ownership of, or what is it, agency, or whatever they call it. So yeah, that's my takeaway. It's just like, I don't know, take care of yourself. Like, and like, if you feel that you lose control of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you should check that. You should like talk to someone.
Yeah. Therapy is for everybody.
Because I don't know if you need to be that. Like, they got him in a lot of trouble just by being that obsessed. Like, no one should have that much power over anybody.
Well, Ben, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. As always, I'll be back next week with another episode. Make sure you follow the pod on Instagram @FriendsWhoCrime. Leave a 5-star review on whatever platform you use to listen. And remember, friends don't let friends commit crimes. Bye. Bye. There you go.
I loved it.